Hello fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to ReeYees Retro Toys. On today's episode, I am going to take you on a tour of my vintage Star Wars toy collection. I've had a lot of people wanting this video for quite some time. Now, it's not the most grand or largest vintage Star Wars collection out there, but I wanted to show you guys anyway. I've done videos of my Ninja Turtles and wrestling and my toy room, but I wanted to do one solely on my vintage Star Wars collection. I've been a huge fan of this franchise ever since I was a little kid when Return of the Jedi came out. I had a Jabba the Hutt playset when I was young, a B-Wing fighter. I had the Dagobah playset, several of the figures. I think I had a 12-inch Darth Vader, and it's just always held a special place in my heart. The films, the cartoons, yes, even the Ewok movies, they just bring that warm fuzziness back to my life, you know, that nostalgic factor that all of us crave, especially if we're into vintage toys and toy hunting and collecting in general. Who knew the franchise would have gotten as big as it has, with 3 original movies, 3 prequel movies, and of course all of the films that Disney has been cranking out lately, as well as the incredible Mandalorian series. I started collecting Star Wars back when I was in high school when Power of the Force came out again. Power of the Force 2, that is, when they were super buff and muscular. But also during that time, I started looking on through different vintage toy ads and things through magazines, because the internet wasn't really out yet or super popular yet, to order vintage carded figures as well. And I would always ask my friends if they had even loose vintage figures to, you know, keep my collection growing. So around 1998 and 99, I was still collecting Power of the Force. Episode 1 came out, I collected that as well. And I was still buying carded Return of the Jedi figures as well. And I picked up toy collecting again maybe about 8 years ago, and I really started to focus on those 3 key elements of Star Wars, Turtles, and wrestling. So from then on, you know, it was game on. I was ready to collect and really increase that Star Wars collection that I had stored away for so long. So without further ado, I give to you my vintage Star Wars toy collection. I hope you dig it. Okay guys, so we're going to start this Star Wars collection tour by going down into the basement. As you can see, I've got my Star Wars mini posters here of the original trilogy. Picked those up at Hobby Lobby. And then I even have one for Force Awakens, at least with the droids. And some more Star Wars artwork. There's me and my buddy Fred when we got our picture taken with Ray Park and Ian McDiarmid at Star Wars Celebration, Darth Maul and the Emperor. There's the exclusive Mandalorian poster that I got at Celebration. It's pretty awesome. As well as some of the patches that I got there. And some of the collector's pins, which are pretty rad. And of course, the official artwork on the poster for Celebration Chicago 2019. And I even put in some additional patches here that I thought were cool. I picked these up at Galaxy's Edge in Disney World. And some also came from Star Wars Celebration. I think the Mandalorian one with the Chicago colors is pretty awesome. And a lot of the Batu ones, like I said, from Disney World. And here, there's another print that I picked up at Celebration, Matt Bush. He actually signed that one, which was awesome. He's a really nice guy. That's an original Return of the Jedi fan club poster. I love that because I love the B-Wing and all of the different ships that are on it. And there's the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back poster that my buddy Fred picked up for me for my 40th birthday. Seems fitting, because Empire also turned 40 years old this year. And here's my mail-away Power of the Force action figure checklist poster. This was a mail-away back in, I don't know, like 97, 98, something like that. Somewhere in the late 90s, they released that, and I mailed away for it. And over here is where the toys begin. Here is my shelf of loose vehicles. There's the incredible vintage AT-AT, as well as the remote control Sandcrawler. I mentioned Fred already, but he got that for me as well. He had 2 of them from childhood, and he ended up giving me his extra one for my birthday this year. So kudos to my good friend Fred for that. There's the original TIE Fighter and the acrylic stand, and the original X-Wing. There's a snow speeder, again with a pretty awesome acrylic stand. And of course the land speeder. There's the cloud car with another one of those stands. And the B-Wing, I love the stand for the B-Wing because it holds it upright.
The galaxy explodes. The rebels return. You can relive it all with Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
The fleet's driving in a hyperdrive. Got it moving.
New B-Wing fighters and B-Wing pilot action figures, each sold separately, batteries not included.
Asteroid belt, lowering rings, hold on tight. That's our laser cannon. Check. Gyro cockpit stable. Now for some evasive action. We're home free.
New B-Wing fighter and B-Wing pilot action figures, each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
Such an incredible vehicle. I think a lot of you would probably agree. I had one of these as a child, so this was actually one of the first vehicles I bought when I started collecting Star Wars. And there's of course the AT-ST, Chicken Walker, and the speeder bike with the Biker Scout on top of it. And there's the battle damaged TIE Fighter. And of course the Y-Wing. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I recently just picked those up. My wife got me the Y-Wing, and I picked the battle damaged TIE Fighter up at D&E. There's a vintage Return of the Jedi trash can as well. It's got some pretty incredible artwork on it, if you ask me. There are the Rebels, and then you turn it around here. Darth Vader and Jabba the Hutt and the skiff. So it's pretty rad artwork. And here I will show you the bat cases. All right, so here are my bat cases full of the loose vintage run. It's hard to get a full straight-on shot of the entire collection. But I have it arranged by movie and somewhat by release date. Of course, I don't have all of the the variants that came out and whatnot, but I definitely have a full run of the original 77 through 85s. I got a brown-haired Luke there. There's a small head Han. And there's the large head Han Solo. And of course the bounty hunters. Some of our favorite figures, of course, for many of us collectors. And the bounty hunters continue. Of course, we're going into Empire Strikes Back now. And here are the Hoth figures. There's the yellow-haired Bespin Luke. That's actually a brown snake Yoda, which is rarer than its more common orange snake version of Yoda. Of course, there's R2 when he was reissued with the sensor scope, and C-3PO with removable limbs. That's the Lando with teeth version. They also made a no teeth version. And of course, you're getting into the Bespin characters here. The TIE fighter pilot, he was always one of my favorite figures as well. And we continue down here with a couple of the droids, Medic Droid, FX7, and Admiral Akbar, another one of my favorite figures because I'm a Return of the Jedi kid. And now we're getting into the Return of the Jedi characters, of course. Here's more of the Jabba scene with Bib Fortuna, and Lando is the skiff guard. Oh, there's my namesake, ReeYees, and the Gamorrean guard. Again, incredible figure, the Luke Jedi. Of course, they made some variants of him. They made him with a snap cape, as well as with a blue lightsaber. Leia in the Boosh disguise, Squid Head, and skiff guards. The Rancor Keeper. Poor Rancor Keeper. You know, I think he was a peg warmer for a long time. 8D8. These are some great figures as well. All three of these right here. Emperor's Royal Guard, the Emperor, and then of course the Biker Scout.
Star Wars Return of the Jedi is here. From it, Kenner brings you 65 incredible Star Wars action figures, each sold separately. And now Kenner reveals yet another from the dark side of the Force, the Supreme Master, the Emperor, and he's yours free just by sending 5 proofs of purchase from any Star Wars action figures to Return of the Jedi, Box 596, Young America, Minnesota. But hurry, this offer will end.
Love that Biker Scout figure and costume. And moving up here, continuing with Return of the Jedi, we have the Endor guys. You got Han Solo there and Leia, and an Endor soldier, and of course the Ewoks. Gotta love Wicket, right? Chief Chirpa. He's a B-Wing pilot. And here is where we start getting into the pretty rare figures. There's the ever-elusive blue Snaggletooth that was released with the Sears Cantina playset and his fantastic disco boots, as people like to call them. Great figure there. And now we're going to begin the last 17 that were released for the Power of the Force line in 84 and 85. Of course, there's Anakin, who was also available as a mail-away figure. And the Ewoks. And there is Barada, one of the other skiff guards. And Ramba. There's Lando Calrissian as the general. Warwick. Of course, you can see I have my Power of the Force coins displayed in coin holders. I don't have them all. I don't have all the coins, so they're always on my radar to pick up. There's the Imperial Gunner and Luke as the Stormtrooper. He's in really good shape. And Han Solo in Carbonite block. There's this block in the back there. And there's the Endor Luke Skywalker. In EV-99, as you remember from Jabba the Hutt's dungeon. There's the Imperial Dignitary with, amazingly, no no nose rub on him. There's the A-Wing pilot, another great figure. And a Man from Jabba's palace. You can see him in the background. And then these guys right here are some of the most expensive in the original line to obtain. That's Yak Face and R2-D2 with the pop-up lightsaber. And again, if you've been watching my videos, you know I just picked up R2 earlier this year. There's my Pro Customs rocket firing Boba Fett. And here are just some other figures I just threw in here. There's the three-legged R2 from the Droid Factory set. It's the only vintage three-legged R2 that they actually made. It came with the Droid Factory, and you just kind of pieced them together. And there are a couple of variants of General Nadine and ReeYees. And then the bottom case here features the droids and Ewoks figures from the 1985 cartoon series. There's King Gornish and Lady Gornish and the Dulok Shaman and Dulok Scout. I still need to find his club, but I have the figure. And there is Logray and Wicket. I don't have Wicket's coin or spear either, so I'll be looking for those. And then we enter the droids characters. There's Thal Jobin from the Droids cartoon series and Jor Dusat. You can see that I have a cut card of Jord. I have yet to determine whether I'm going to take him out. He's been in there for so long, I just struggle whether or not I should release him from his cut card or not. So he fits in there anyway, so I just left him in there like that. And there's Keamol, Kez Iban, Jan Tosh, and there's the Pro Customs Vlix that was featured in my last episode, actually. I need a few more of the droids characters. C-3PO and R2-D2 are really expensive, as well as Tig and Size from the cartoon series. I mean, you're talking between $400 and $500 a figure, so right now this is what I've been able to pick up. So that's my loose vintage run there in 6 bat cases. I think it looks pretty good in those cases. It's almost like they were made for them, although they're obviously made for baseball bats. So now we're going to go over to my other display, which my daughter has taken over some of the space over there. As you can see, she's also a Barbie collector, so she plays over there in the corner. So we're going to get a closer look over there. So here's my other wall of Star Wars items and toys and all sorts of different collectibles. I have a couple of IKEA Detolf cases, and then the middle one is a Billy bookcase. There's my vintage droid poster that is from the Fan Club magazine back in 77 or 78. That's an original poster, as well as my original episode 1 Anakin poster. So I'm going to dig into these shelves here. Up here we have the vintage Return of the Jedi Ewok Village playset. That Wicket plush I got at Galaxy's Edge in Disney World. Top shelf here we have, of course, Jabba the Hutt, who I had as a child and absolutely loved. I'm using the Power of the Force Slave Leia, because that's just the one that I have loose. Of course, ReeYees is there. We got 3PO up there behind Jabba, and another Jedi Luke, Rancor Keeper, and there's a really nice example of a carded Jedi Luke in a nice acrylic case there. kind of like my Return of the Jedi shelf. And here's Hoth, or Empire Strikes Back. We have the Tauntaun with Han Solo riding him, and the Probot and Turret playset, of course.
Chewie, an Imperial Probot is searching for the Rebel base.
It's Kenner's turret and Probot playset. You have to put it together.
Let's check it out, Chewbacca. Keep me covered with a laser cannon.
Action figures each sold separately. You can move Han Solo with the action lever and knock out the Probot.
We got him, Chewie! Yay! But now they know where we are.
Turret and Probot playset from Kenner's Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection. Action figures each sold separately.
And there's the Wampa. Here are a couple of the micro collection figures that they released only for Empire Strikes Back. And of course, one of the mini rigs. Nice little Hoth shelf there. Here are a couple of like random glass pieces or porcelain pieces. That's a vintage music box from Return of the Jedi, featuring the Max Rebo Band. That's a newer R2 one. That's a bank. That's a vintage C-3PO bank. There's a little Yoda statuette from Empire. Of course, a Jar Jar Binks coffee mug. And that is an R2-D2 nightlight. Then down here, there's a boxed Biker Scout laser pistol. I got that at the first Toy Hi-O that I went to. There's the mini skiff, mini rig that they released, as well as a boxed Sice Noodles and the Rebo Band playset. I have fond memories of that set because I vividly remember getting that set, I think at James Way. My parents bought it for me. So I had to get that one in the package. And there's a box of cards. It's just the box though. There's no cards in that one. Moving over to the other Detolf. Here are a couple of the vintage 12-inch figures that they released. Chewie, 3PO, Boba Fett, Jawa, and R2-D2. There's a vintage Dewback as well. Behind those figures is the classic Darth Vader collector's case, of course. Here's the first shelf here. We have the Cantina playset, and I have a complete loose Max Rebo Band here set up, as well as a Darth Vader and Royal Guard. Here's the Cantina playset. I got Bosk there, serving drinks. I pretend the Ugnaught is one of the servers. It's a mixture in here. A lot of it's vintage. Well, there's a Jango Fett. But some of those aliens came from the Power of the Force line. Like I mentioned, you know, we didn't get all of the aliens until Power of the Force came out, you know. It gets a bad rap, but a lot of newer figures came out with that line that we never had before. My Cantina. This shelf here has, again, another vintage Dewback, as well as the Power of the Force Bantha figure, and the Force Unleashed Jedi Luke. I think that's a pretty wicked action figure right there. It's really neat. And these came from Galaxy's Edge, actually, a wind-up Gonk droid. And the pin, my daughter got that for me for my 40th birthday. They special ordered it from Disney World. That Droid Depot pin. And down here is a little homage to Episode 1. That's another Force Unleashed figure, the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. My sister used to work at Walmart, so she was able to get some of those pins when they came out. So I have the Walmart pin there for when Episode 1 came out on video. Anakin and a little, I think that's Taco Bell toy, Tatooine. The carded black series back there, those were Star Wars Chicago exclusives, Celebration exclusives. They came on the retro Episode 1 card backs, so those were only available from the Hasbro booth at Star Wars Celebration last year in Chicago. Had to get those. And then down here we have a little bit of a Dagobah set up. We got the Dagobah play set.
What a creepy swamp!
It's Kenner's new Dagobah action playset. You have to put it together. Action figures each sold separately.
Yoda, I'm stuck! Fear not, Luke Skywalker, I'll save you. Now I'll teach you the ways of the Jedi with the lightsaber. Now how to levitate. I'm trying, Yoda. I did!
New Dagobah action playset from Kenner's Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection. Action figures each sold separately.
There's the orange snake Yoda. He's not complete, but he does have his orange snake. Just need to find his cane. And then there's a brown-haired Bespin Luke instead of the yellow one, the yellow-haired one that I have in my back case. Another R2. That's a vintage hand puppet from Empire Strikes Back. And then this is actually a Power of the Force Yoda. This is replacement foam that I ordered on eBay. Of course, this is 40 years old, this playset, so very, very common. The foam was all rotted out of this playset. So, and so it's just an empty hole. So I think, yeah, it's repop, but I think it looks better than just having an empty hole there in the playset. And here onto the Billy bookcase, we have one of those Darth Vader helmets. And that's a popcorn tin that my wife got me for Christmas last year. And then here's my Bosk Focus, all sorts of different Bosk figures. That's the Force Unleashed one in the back, the large one. And then just all kind of random Bosks that have come out. There's a few Rogue One miniature figures. And some Wookiees. There's the Star Wars passport back there. And Luke Skywalker's soap. There's erasers. There's a few of the mini rigs. This is the one I had as a kid. So it has a special place in my heart, that specific mini rig. There's a sealed puzzle back there. And I sporadically sprinkle in random loose figures on these shelves. There's a giant Darth Maul, Black Series Chewie, and Django. This was a Celebration exclusive as well last year. The tin lunchbox featuring the holiday special artwork, which is awesome, in my opinion. Some more Black Series. These are the miniatures that they released for the vintage line. Empire Strikes Back plastic lunchbox. There's an old Jedi cup and a bagged 3PO with his carrying pack. There's a metal Return of the Jedi lunchbox. Here is the Coca-Cola bottles that you get on Batuu in Disney World and Galaxy's Edge. I only picked up the Coke one, but they also have Diet Coke and Sprite. I'm sure most of you Star Wars fans know about this now. So Galaxy's Edge is more of an immersive experience, and so even when you buy a Coke, they want you to feel like you're actually in a Star Wars universe, which is pretty awesome. There's the Empire Strikes Back Atari game. This shelf here, there's one of the comic books. It's kind of an oversized comic book. And one of the 12-inch battle droids. There's a C-3PO mask that came off the back of the C-3PO's cereal box.
Now, it's here. The excitement, the adventure of a new force at breakfast.
We'll call them C-3POs.
New C-3PO cereal from Kellogg's. Twin rings, phase together. For 2 crunches in every double O. A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. Now you can experience the taste of Kellogg's C-3POs. A crunchy new force at breakfast.
May the Force be with you.
And here is the Bespin World micro collection set. I know they're not super popular with collectors, but it's pretty neat. I know the figures are, I think, harder to find than the actual play set. Like there's the Boba Fett and Darth Vader, and inside there you have the Han and Carbonite, and Stormtroopers, Lobot and Lando, Darth Vader. Them dueling there on the edge. I have the other Luke hanging off of there like he did in the movie. There's an exclusive Episode 3 coin and vintage Jedi pins. Here's the Forest Ranger, which is one of the mini rigs. One of the more uncommon mini rigs, actually. There's the Power of the Force Wicket, of the 12-inch line of figures. And there's a Wicket Eraser, and of course the Wicket Phone that was part of like the Play School line, and lunch boxes, Return of the Jedi and Ewoks. Down here we have the Hoth playset, all sorts of snowtroopers set up. More mini rigs. You can see in my collection I have Bosks everywhere. He's kind of a cheap figure to find loose, especially if you don't care if he has his weapon. There's that Mandalorian tin lunchbox that came out at Target this past year. I thought the artwork was pretty awesome on it, so I picked that up. More mini rigs. And I'm pretty sure this is a boxed Emperor, mail-away Emperor. I haven't had it x-rayed, so I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure that's an Emperor. And then here are more of my Black Series, another mini rig that I just picked up at D&E, actually. And again, more Rogue One, Black Series. There's some card backs back there. There's the Troop Transport, the original vintage one that was never in any of the movies, but has since made a resurgence from The Mandalorian, because they put it in one of the episodes. And some of the newer figures down here from the new Disney movies. I mean, I have all this stuff in the package and on card, but when they went on clearance, I went ahead and picked them up just so I could open them and display them. There's the A-Wing. And I think that lunchbox came from Walmart, had a t-shirt inside. So that is the Billy bookcase, full of Star Wars awesomeness. And there's like some more artwork of the X-Wing. And here is where I have my Millennium Falcon, the vintage Millennium Falcon, 100% complete. And I even have Han Solo's dice that hung in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. I got them at Galaxy's Edge as well. And then through this door, you enter my toy room, my nerd cave, if you will. And so the next up, I'm going to show you what's on this Toys R Us end cap. So this is where I have my carded Return of the Jedi collection, all in star cases, as well as some of my Episode 1 on card, as well as the Power of the Force.
The Star Wars Power of the Force Collection. Darth Vader leads an evil empire towards universal domination. Join a brave rebellion with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo and Chewbacca, and Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi. Can you stop the Empire? Star Wars Power of the Force Collection from Kenner.
I think it's kind of neat to have them all on the same end cap from Toys R Us. You know how we were used to seeing it back in the day. And I mean, I know you can't see all the figures. I think I'm gonna lay out the Jedi cards so you can actually see all of them on card that I have. Bosk, of course, Biker Scout, Royal Guard, Low Gray that I just picked up, Toy Hio, Leia. And the original orange or red cards of the Power of the Force, and then they transitioned into the green cards. And then they transitioned into the freeze frame slides. And then they even transitioned into the flashback photo. You could do that, kind of pull up and down and reveal the different photo. And then I have all sorts of boxed vehicles and figure packs on the shelves. Like there's the speeder bike and the B-Wing fighter. Now these are loose with the box, guys. So if you've seen my loose collection of vehicles, those are the vehicles, these are the boxes. And there's the Ewok Village playset from Return of the Jedi box. And some mini rigs. Here, if you recall in the 90s, they released all these figure 3 packs from Power of the Force, like Final Jedi Duel, and Purchase of the Droids, Jabba's Dancers, and what's that one? Death Star Escape. And you can see I actually have the shelf talkers. Came directly from Toys R Us, this entire end cap and shelving, and the hooks even, the pegs, all came from Toys R Us. Down here, we have Jabba the Hutt with the box. More Episode 1 goodies. There's the Stat Battle Droid. And the Mos Espa encounter. There's the OP with Qui-Gon back there. The Jabba the Hutt with Han Solo when they did the special edition Jabba the Hutt, which everybody loves. And there's Cade and Muftak. I believe that was kind of a mail-away exclusive for the Power of the Force line. Same with Ula and Salacious Crumb. She was a mail-away. And there's a sneak preview Mace Windu figure from Episode 1. Tauntaun and Han Solo. More of those 3 packs, the Cantina Aliens, the Force Spirits, Cantina Showdown, and then some of the monsters, the Ronto, the Jawa, again from the special edition movies, and the Wampa with Luke. There's the Radar Laser Cannon, vintage, Empire Strikes Back. Here's some vintage cereal bowls. The Power of the Force speeder bike, as well as Luke and Leia. Now guys, I collected all this Power of the Force stuff when I was a teenager, when all this stuff was coming out. So only some of the vehicles and stuff I've been picking up lately. There's the boxed Bantha from Power of the Force, as well as, I believe that's the Rancor back there. Yeah, there's the Rancor from Power of the Force. There's, this is a vintage lightsaber. So that's the Force lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. I think they made this in, I know they made it in green, maybe blue as well. They also made lightsabers for the Droids cartoon, which are pretty hard to come by. I can't believe this. My dad found this at a yard sale for like $1. So I was happy to find that. This bottom shelf here has more vintage boxes. There's the Land Speeder and the Creature Cantina. Twin Pod Cloud Car. And of course the giant Millennium Falcon box back there. There's the Snow Speeder and TIE Fighter. I just love the simplistic design of this vintage artwork on these boxes. They put a picture of the toy with a classic colored background. You have blue and pink, you know, there's blue. You know, I know they also did pink in this box as well, but it's just classic. It's iconic for Star Wars. There's the Death Star game underneath too, by the way. And then more Power of the Force stuff. There's the Detention Block Rescue. And if you've been watching my videos, you saw how I got these. The Darth Vader's TIE Fighter and the A-Wing Fighter. Anakin's Pod Racer. There's the Flash Speeder, as well as some Attack of the Clones speeders to round out the bottom shelf there. So, you know, a lot of people would probably only put vintage stuff on here, but I have fond memories of collecting that stuff in the 90s, the Power of the Force stuff, running into Family Toy Warehouse and Hills and just hoping to find the next batch. But so I just kind of merged the two. They live together in harmony on this shelf, vintage and what most people call modern, although it's 25 years old now. But so there's that shelf. I'm going to pull off these Return of the Jedi cards here and kind of give you an overview of which ones I have. Okay guys, honestly I didn't even know how many I had carded. Looks like there's 29 here in the star cases, and then I had that Jedi Luke that's in one of the acrylic cases. They're all Return of the Jedi. And typically I try to collect the figures that were released with Return of the Jedi. But I started collecting these back in high school, so I did pick up a few when prices weren't so crazy. And I got some great ones in here. But like I said, they're all Return of the Jedi cards. And varying condition. I'm not super picky when it comes to mint on card. Nowadays, you know, if I get one, you know, I want it in decent shape. But back in high school, when I was buying some of these, you could get them for, like, look at this. This is the original star case for this figure, the Emperor's Royal Guard. $20. So I probably bought this back in '98, I would say. 98 or 99. I mean, you were able to get carded Star Wars back then for that price. Definitely not today. And I love all the little, like the free coin stickers, free Emperor. Poor Klaatu here, you know, he was on clearance forever. You know, and somebody tried to rip off all the clearance tags. So it's not perfect. Leia here, she was on sale for 97 cents at Montgomery Ward. My good friend up near Pittsburgh got me the Bosk character because he knew I'm a big fan of Bosk. That was even back in high school. Akbar. My worst card is poor old Chief Chirpa here. His card is roached. Looked like he sat out in the sun. His bubble's all banged up. But amazingly, it is still attached to that card. I don't know how, but he is. And look at this one. The Emperor, $16. I kid you not. This is the original one that I had, from high school, the star case. So, 16 bucks for the Emperor. Crazy. There's only a couple that I'm missing from Return of the Jedi now. I still need a Wicket and a 9-Num. And the 2 Ewoks that came out for Return of the Jedi, but were also a part of Power of the Force. I forget which ones. So yeah, that's my carded Jedi collection. Anybody wants to see? I know people like the droids. There's the Sensor Scope R2. Card is in great shape on this one. It's a 77 back. I'm gonna try to find one that has the Ewoks blurred out. My Bib Fortuna is a foreign card. It has the foreign sticker on the back. You can see that. I know there's a name for that type of card back. It's just escaping me right now. It's a 65 back with the foreign sticker on it. Here's one. Here's Admiral Akbar. Of course, the Ewoks were a surprise, and so when they were placed on the back of the cards, they blurred them out. Are their names still there? Yeah, they are. The names are still there. Logray and Chief Chirpa. But obviously their pictures are blurred out. Again. And I know the Ewoks were quite the surprise for a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans. But, you know, I was 3-4 years old when Return of the Jedi came out, so I actually like the Ewoks in the Ewoks movies. But anyway, there's my carded collection. So there you have it, folks. There was my vintage Star Wars toy collection. I hope you really enjoyed this video, as well as my other collection videos that I've done on my Ninja Turtles collection, wrestling collection, and even a toy room tour of my other lines and items that I have. As you can tell, I'm extremely passionate about Star Wars, always have been since I was a little kid, my high school years, and even as a 40-year-old adult male with 2 kids and a wife, I still find time to enjoy that imaginative franchise that George Lucas gifted us many moons ago. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel at ReeYees Retro Toys for all of your vintage toy hunting needs. Thank you for watching. May the Force be with you, and keep on hunting.